First step in the removal and reinstallation of front drum is to locate front band adjustment jam nut and screw, which is located right above front cooler line and right next to the shift linkages. After you have located the position with the 3/4 inch wrench, loosen band adjustment jam nut and back off 2 or 3 rounds by hand. Next step in the front band removal and reinstallation is to tighten the front band just snug with either a 40 Torx or a 5/16 wrench, depending on the year of the transmission. Just so it's snug that the band cannot move when we're going to remove the pump. Next step in the front drum removal and reinstallation is to remove the 7, 13 or 1/2 inch headed bolts that holds the pump in. When removing them, locate the 2 holes which have the threaded inserts in with a set of slide hammers or equivalent. Insert slide hammers. After the pump has been removed, loosen the band adjustment until you are able to remove either the strut or the wedge. After that has been completed, grab input shaft holding drum, front drum, and pull all of it out. With the front and rear drum on the bench, remove front drum from the rear drum, installing the new front drum, making sure that the thrust washer between the front and rear drum remains in its location. Set new front drum over top of rear drum, making sure wiggling back and forth until fully seated, making a metal on metal contact sound. After the new front drum has been relocated onto the rear drum, making sure that the thrust washer is still located on the end of the intermediate shaft and the 3-tab thrust washer is still located inside of the rear drum. Take the front drum by the shaft, installing it into the transmission with a clockwise twisting motion, aligning the splines. With the front and rear drum reinstalled back in the transmission with a metal on metal contact sound, you know that it's fully engaged. Next step would be to take the band, reinstalling into the transmission, and the pump gasket, installing into the transmission. Next, line your oil grooves and your feed holes up with the case, sliding the pump over the input shaft and aligning the bolt holes. Start the 2 bolt holes with the threaded inserts in them for proper alignment, just snug. Then by pushing the pump back into the transmission, with the pump reinstalled, snug 2 bolts 180 degrees apart and check end clearance with a dial caliper or equivalent. Measure with the shaft all the way in and then measure with the shaft pulling all the way out. 30 to 60 thousandths is an acceptable measurement. Anything else under that or over that will have to justify using different thrust washers. After the proper end clearance has been obtained, remove the two 13mm bolts that were previously installed to check the end clearance, and add either new rubber washers to all 7 bolts or a dab of silicone underneath each head of the 7 bolts. Reinstall, starting snugging all of them up, and then in a star pattern at 10 foot-pounds, tighten in a star pattern. Then after that, step 2 would be moved to 18 foot-pounds and tighten in a star pattern also. After that has been completed, check again to make sure end clearance is still obtained. After that, you may reinstall the band, strut, and wedge, making sure that the notch in the strut and wedge line up with the notch in the band. After that has been completed, you may tighten the band adjusting screw snug with a short wrench, backing it off 2 1/4 turns. While holding the screw, tighten the 3/4 inch jam nut with a little silicone under it. Tighten snug to tight to obtain the proper clearance.